Did you know that 67% of people in America who try to invest for retirement never actually make it? And here's the twist. It's not because they didn't invest, it's because they invested in the wrong things. I'm taking on a challenge. These 4 safe investments are secretly toxic. I'm cutting them out right now to see if I can actually reach financial freedom in just 5 years. Let's talk about what's keeping you poor and what you need to dump right now. You've probably been told to just invest and you'll be rich. But no one talks about the things you should stop investing in, because sometimes the road to wealth isn't about adding more. It's about cutting the stuff that's slowing you down. So let's break down for investments that might be keeping you broken, how to replace them with assets that actually work. According to multiple studies, the average investor loses around 2% per year due to bad advice, hidden fees, and emotional decisions. That 2% might not sound like much, but over 5 years, that's 10% of your entire net worth gone. You might be working hard, saving consistently, even investing faithfully. But if you're holding the wrong things, you're paddling upstream with anchors tied to your ankles. So let's start cutting the weight. Ah yes, the classic advice we've all heard. Just put your money in a savings account and let it grow. Sounds responsible, right? Safe, smart, the kind of thing your grandparents might have sworn by. But here's the problem, and it's a big one. It's not growing, it's shrinking. Let's break that down. Right now, the average interest rate on a traditional savings account is around 0.4%. That's not a typo. Not 4%, not even 1%, just 0.4. Now compare that to inflation, which is hovering at 3% or more, depending on the year and where you live. In some months, it's even much higher. So while your money sits in that safe savings account, earning fractions of a percent, the cost of everything else, groceries, gas, rent, healthcare, is rising much faster. You're not just standing still, you're falling behind. You're losing money every single day. And here's the kicker. The banks know this, and they're completely fine with it. Because when you deposit your money into that savings account, the bank doesn't let it sit there. Nope, they take your money and loan it out. For car loans, personal loans, credit cards, and mortgages. And guess what interest rate they're charging? 7%, 8%, even 20% in some cases. So what's happening? You're earning 0.4%. They're earning 8% off your money. That's not just inefficient. That's a business model. Their gain is your missed opportunity. Now, don't get me wrong. You absolutely need a safety net, an emergency fund with quick access to cash. That's just smart planning. But if your entire financial strategy is to park your money in a savings account and wait it out, you're not protecting your future. You're slowly bleeding it. So, what's the better move? You don't need to take wild risks. You just need to be strategic with your safe money. Here are a few smarter, safer options. 1. High-yield money market accounts. These accounts typically offer 4% or more, depending on the provider. Same FDIC insurance, same safety, just better returns. 2. Treasury bills. Backed by the US government. T-bills are one of the safest places to park cash, and they are currently yielding 5% or more for short durations. 3. Short-term bond ETFs. Funds like VGSH or SHV track short-term government bonds and offer stability with better returns than savings. You don't have to become a day trader. You don't need to gamble. But you do need to stop being passive. Your savings account should be a tool, not a trap. So don't just let your money sit there and rot. Make it work, even when it's safe. Because the banks, they already are. Next, dump this investment. Actively managed mutual funds. You've probably heard the pitch before. Let the professionals handle it. They know what they're doing. That's the sales pitch for actively managed mutual funds. And on the surface, it sounds like a smart move, right? You hand your hard-earned money over to a team of financial experts who pick and manage your investments. They research the markets, they time the trades, they adjust the portfolio. They do it all, so you don't have to. But here's the problem. Most of them are bad at it. Really bad. In fact, according to SPIVA scorecards, which track how professional fund managers stack up against market benchmarks, over 80% of actively managed mutual funds underperform the S&P 500 over a 10-year period. Yes, 80%. That means that if you simply bought an S&P 500 index fund and did absolutely nothing for a decade, you would have beaten the majority of these highly paid professionals. And the kicker, you're not just underperforming, you're paying handsomely to do it. Most actively managed mutual funds charge 1% to 2% in annual management fees, plus transaction costs, marketing fees, and other hidden expenses. Doesn't sound like much, right? Just 1% or 2% a year. But let's do the math. Let's say you invest $10,000 into an actively managed fund and leave it there for 30 years. The market returns 7% annually on average, and your fund charges a 1.5% fee. Over 30 years, your $10,000 in a low-fee index fund would grow to about $76,000. But in a 1.5% fee fund, you'd end up with just $52,000. That's over $24,000 lost to fees. Scale that up, say, if you had $100,000 invested, and those small fees could cost you over $240,000 in lost returns. That's a house. That's a retirement fund. That's college for your kids. All handed over in silence, one quiet fee at a time. And here's the part that most people miss. Mutual funds don't just charge you in money, they cost you an opportunity. While you're stuck with mediocre performance and bloated fees, other options, like index funds, ETFs, or even simple T-bill ladders, quietly outperform. You might think, but surely someone out there can beat the market, right? Sure, a few managers beat the market, but here's the twist. They rarely do it consistently. In fact, a 2022 Morningstar study showed that less than 10% of fund managers who outperformed the market in one decade continued to do so in the next. And guess who knows this better than anyone? Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett has said it plainly. Most investors are better off putting their money in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. In fact, back in 2008, Buffett made a legendary $1 million bet with a hedge fund manager. Buffett claimed that the S&P 500 index fund would beat a portfolio of hand-picked hedge funds over a 10-year period. He was right. The S&P 500 trounced the hedge funds, and Buffett won the bet. Not just proving a point, but making a statement. The market wins. Over time, simplicity wins. Fees kill. So unless you personally know a mutual fund manager who's consistently beaten the S&P 500 for the last 10 years, and good luck finding one, you're likely paying extra for subpar results. You're not hiring a genius. You're hiring someone to underperform the market at a premium. And there's another trap. Active mutual funds often come with lock-in periods and high minimum investments, which reduce your flexibility. They can also trigger tax inefficiencies because fund managers frequently trade in and out of positions, generating taxable gains, which you, the investor, have to pay. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. So, what should you do instead? Ditch the fund managers. Buy broad market index funds like the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF or Fidelity Zero, large cap index fund. These charge as little as 0.03% in fees, literally a fraction of a penny per dollar invested. They're diversified, they're proven, and they've outperformed 80% plus of active funds for decades. Actively managed mutual funds sound like a smart choice. They promise expertise, customization, and hands-on care. But in reality, they're often expensive, underperforming, and bloated with fees. You wouldn't pay someone to do your job worse than you could do it yourself. So why pay them to underperform your money? Dump them, fire the fund manager, and let the market, low cost, proven, and relentless, do what it does best: build wealth silently, efficiently, without a 2% fee eating your future. Next, dump timeshares. Let's make one thing crystal clear. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a liability. Dressed up in a fancy lobby, glossy brochures, and high-pressure sales tactics, the pitch sounds irresistible. Lifetime vacations in luxurious resorts, exclusive access to beachfront properties. Why rent every year when you can own a piece of paradise? But what do you really get? Maintenance fees that never stop, booking systems that never work, and a property that depreciates faster than a brand new car driving off the lot. That's the ugly truth. Here's how it works. You don't actually own the property. You own the right to use a sliver of it, usually 1 week per year, and often during dates that are either off-season or nearly impossible to reserve. And you pay for that privilege forever. Let's talk numbers. The average timeshare can cost anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 up front, not including annual maintenance fees, which can easily be $1,000 or more per year. and they rise over time. And even if you never use the timeshare again, those fees don't go away. You're locked in. That's not an asset. That's a financial chain. Try selling it. Go ahead. Search eBay or Craigslist. You'll find listings for timeshares being sold for $1. Some are even given away for free, just so the original owner can escape the ongoing fees. That's not a resale market. That's a warning sign. So why do people fall for it? Because the sales tactics are slick. Timeshare companies lure people in with free hotel stays, gift cards, or exclusive VIP previews. Once you're inside, they give you a hard sell with high-pressure techniques. Today, only limited inventory. You'll regret missing this. But when the dust settles and the champagne wears off, you're left with a long-term contract, inflexible booking dates, and the realization that you just paid a fortune for 1 week a year you may not even get to use. And let's talk alternatives. That same $20,000 you spent on a timeshare, you could have used it too. Invest in dividend-paying stocks and get paid every quarter by REITs, and actually own a share of profitable real estate. Contribute to an index fund and let the market grow your wealth over time, or even make a down payment on a rental property that cash flows. Any of those choices give you actual ownership, potential income, and flexibility. A timeshare gives you the right to argue with customer service when your booking disappears. And here's the ironic part. If you want luxury, if you want beachfront views, ski resorts, exotic getaways, you can just book them. Use Airbnb, VRBO, luxury hotel rewards, or travel credit card points. Get the vacation experience without the lifetime contract, the annual fees, or the financial regret. Because true freedom means choice. A timeshare locks you in. Real wealth lets you opt out. So next time someone offers you a piece of paradise, remember this: if it was truly valuable, they wouldn't have to pressure you into buying it at a seminar. Next, dump this. Investment number 4. Penny stocks and hype crypto. This one's going to the moon. How many times have you heard that line? Usually followed by a rocket emoji, a Reddit post, or a tweet from some anonymous account claiming they just turned $500 into $50,000 overnight. The truth: penny stocks and hype-driven crypto tokens love to sell you the dream, but more often than not, they deliver a nightmare. Let's be honest, these assets don't trade on fundamentals. They trade on FOMO, manipulation, and fake volume pumped up by influencers with vested interests. You see a chart that's up 200% in a day. You hear a tip from a YouTuber or Discord group. You think, if I don't buy now, I'll miss out. And that's exactly when they sell to you. Because here's the cold reality: you're not investing, you're speculating. And unless you're a full-time trader or on the inside of these games, you're not catching the wave, you're the exit liquidity. Let's break it down. Penny stocks. These are often companies with no revenue, shady reporting, and barely enough liquidity to handle real volume. They're easy to manipulate, cheap to pump, and even easier to dump. You might get a lucky spike, but more often, it crashes just as fast. Sometimes before you can even click sell, and the brokers, many of them restrict trades or halt selling when things get volatile. That's not freedom, that's a trap. Hype coins, same thing. The new meme token drops, there's a Twitter frenzy. Influencers shill it. Telegram groups explode. Promises of 1 now as X gains fly, and just as you swipe to buy, they're cashing out. You're holding the bag. Now, let's be clear. Crypto isn't bad. Penny stocks aren't evil. They have their place, but only for those who understand the game and accept the risk. The problem isn't the asset. The problem is hype. Hype clouds judgment. Hype makes you emotional. Hype turns investors into gamblers. And here's the thing: real wealth doesn't shout. It whispers. It's not built on overnight pumps. It's built with discipline, time, and understanding. So what should you do instead? Stick to proven Layer 1 cryptos like Bitcoin and Ethereum, assets with real infrastructure, adoption, and history. Use dollar cost averaging to build your position, buying small amounts consistently, over time, without chasing highs. Only allocate a small percentage of your portfolio to speculative assets. Think 1% to 5%, not your entire savings. Understand what you're investing in, not just what someone told you on TikTok. Because here's the truth: you don't have to hit home runs to get rich. You just need to not strike out. And while that viral coin or penny stock might look like the next big thing today, tomorrow it could be worth zero. Real investing is boring, but it works. So leave the hype to the influencers. Build your wealth quietly. In the background, one smart decision at a time. Because the only thing that's truly going to the moon is your discipline. Summary. If your portfolio is a garden, then these 4 investments, they're the weeds choking the roots. They may look harmless. Some might even seem helpful, dressed up as safe, traditional, or expert managed. But don't be fooled. These are not assets. They're anchors. They're silent saboteurs slowly draining your future. They steal your growth while you're focused on the long game. They keep you busy but stagnant. They make you think you're making progress, when in reality, you're just watering weeds. Let's recap the 4. A savings account that barely keeps up with inflation, offering you safety at the price of slow erosion. Actively managed mutual funds that charge you hefty fees just to underperform the market. Every year, for decades, a timeshare that locks you into luxury. Without liquidity, flexibility, or financial upside, and the shiny world of penny stocks and hype coins where emotion replaces strategy. And the only people winning are the ones selling to you. Each of these comes wrapped in a story, a pitch, a promise, a perfectly rehearsed line about how this is smart, secure, or the next big thing. But if you look closely, the results tell the truth. High fees, low returns, wasted years, missed opportunities. And here's the most important part. You don't need to take big risks to build wealth. You just need to stop wasting time on things that don't work. Financial freedom in 5 years, it's possible. But not if your money is scattered across underperforming funds, dead assets, and hype that disappears overnight. The wealthy don't chase noise. They build systems. Simple, proven, repeatable systems that grow without drama. They focus on efficiency, clarity, and long-term payoff. And they understand something most people never learn. It's not about doing more. It's about cutting the things that hold you back. So do a hard audit of your portfolio. Cut the weeds, free the roots, and give your future the space to grow faster, cleaner, and stronger than you thought possible. Because once you remove what's draining you, growth becomes effortless. Freedom becomes real. Now, I want to turn the spotlight on you. What's the worst investment you ever made? Was it a flashy crypto coin that crashed the day after you bought it? A timeshare you couldn't escape? A hot stock tip? From a friend that went cold overnight? We've all been there. Every investor has a story, a lesson they paid for, and sometimes those are the most powerful teachers. So drop yours in the comments below. Let's make this a place where people learn from each other, not just from mistakes, but from the mindset shifts that came after. And if you're watching this thinking, I don't want to waste another year stuck in bad investments, then this is your moment to shift gears. If you're serious about hitting financial freedom in the next 5 years, no gimmicks, just clear strategy. Hit that subscribe button, because your money should be working harder than you do. And your next step. Watch the next video. Warren Buffett ditch cash. 6 powerful assets the wealthy use instead. These are the kind of assets that don't just survive downturns, they thrive in them. That's the difference between playing defense and playing to win. Because in the end, the goal isn't just to have more money. The real goal is freedom. And it starts with the next video.